Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Breakfast Show, Trading Idea with SMARTRobie. I'm your host, Martin Wong. Now, the long weekend that we had, almost 4 days, and I was bored to death, at home, couldn't go out with the MCO 3.0. The best we could do is just sit at home and watch some TV and do a bit of cooking here and there. Other than that, just going to the market, but let's all remember we have to stay alert and stay safe as the number of cases continue to pile up as we wait for vaccine to roll out. I do hope that your festive season is better than mine at least. And for our Muslim friend, I do hope that you had a good celebration. Lots of makan, I suppose, a lot of lawat and lots of eating. But right now, definitely we are back into the market and the regular days and routine will come back after almost 1 month of fasting. That's right. But this Hari Raya has been a little bit quiet for many people. I think also applied to you. And somehow that also applied to our market, having closed on Thursday and Friday and half day on Wednesday. We will see a bit of maybe volatility this week, depending on the type of volume that we've seen. And I do apologize this morning for our SMARTRobie. The English version is a bit cranky. The Bursa one is okay. Our technical team are working on a better response that you will see on our SMARTRobie English version, but do use the Bursa for the time being for those of you who wanted to use it in here while we get our team to continue to work on it to give you the best user experience, something that we hope to achieve here. All right, so let's look at what we have for you on our daily breakfast show. That's right. Now, for our daily breakfast show this morning, we are at our Monday, and Monday we will be looking at the beginners level. That's right. Now, last week we did only two breakfast show. That was on Monday and Wednesday, and definitely Monday last week was 10th of May. We did look at two trade idea in our Pentagon guide in here and also build a trading plan. And today, similarly, we will also do one trading plan, one of the stocks trade that we will be looking at. But definitely what we want to look at right now is our KLCI right now. All right, so you can see our KLCI right now. Do take note, we are at, if you look from the chart here, just on top of me, switching to a wider chart, we do have a red pentagon. And the red pentagon, we have a yellow trend zone that seems to be continue to push down. But this morning, I think the market is up here. And it's up 7 points. If you look on the on your left, it's up 7 points in here. 1589. The resistance level still around 1590, 1600 level in here. But the banks are back. One of the reasons why, if you do see that the banks in the US sector, okay, the financial in the US sector are coming back. So remember, I always said about anything that move on the US sector, and check out the US SMARTRobie in here. You can actually look it in here. That's the S&P 500 on your top there. And you can look at the hot sectors that pretty much give you what we have right now. But let's look at the continuing of our market here. All right, and let's look at the headline this morning. That's right. Now, this morning headline, all right, our morning headline, switching back to here, will be definitely before we get to the morning headline, again, our iPad giveaway for the July campaign is still on. We are receiving some reply from me, but we definitely want to see 50 replies at least. The first 50 submission will get 50 ringgit voucher. That's right, 50 ringgit voucher of Grabs inside here. We have a lot to give out, and also the best winner for the best trade from SMARTRobie will get an iPad. Do check this out in here. Check out the notification that you get from the SMARTRobie, and the way to do that, you can just go to the inbox, right, and that will reach the server a bit here, and you can connect to find out more on that one. All right, so let's look at our news headline this morning that we had. There you go. All right, and you can see these are all the details that you have just above me in here, and definitely there is a lot of prices. That's right. All right, let's look at what we have for you this morning in our news headline. Now, a continue of call of stimulus. That's right. With the MCO 3.0, like what we have MCO 1.0 and 2.0, the riot definitely need more economic stimulus. But then on the argument of the first two stimulus that we have, not much has been said of really move or seen actually physically by the riot on terms of it. But we do see the recovery on the manufacturing index and also the recovery that we've seen on the GDP growth. You have seen some of the past episode that we have done. We have seen those round, they are reflected on the figures and the statistic. Definitely, if you go down to the street to street, it's very hard to see. You can see many jobs has been lost, many shops, especially restaurants, has closed. So that is not felt physically, but it's felt on the figure in here. So to date, we can look at the article that's stated in the Starbase. The government has dished out almost 340 billion in various stimulus packages last year and this year, under 322 billion under budget 2021, and at the same time, they are looking more. The question is always that would result to government issuing more bonds to finance many of this economic stimulus in there. All right, so we yet to see some sort of round. If we do see that, probably our Prime Minister would do another round of economic stimulus waiting on our TV screen in here. Let's move on to our next news is the semiconductors. Now, we all know that the technology sector, let's look at the technology, and I'm going to switch to the Bursa version. You can click on the Bursa version and look at FoundPack. Okay, FoundPack is FP Group. And let's look at stock chart and stock comment. So, okay, there you go. So what has happened is the tech sectors, as due to the inflation pricing in there, we've seen a lot of tech sector in the US has fallen a fair bit, and that is no different. All right, switching to a wider chart. So you can see from here, this is a technology sector on the semiconductors, and since making up an attempt to hit almost 90 cents on the left hand side, you can see the market break back down in line with the overall tech sector's correction in here. But things are looking positive, I suppose, from the FoundPack standpoint. They are looking to retain the net profit, all right, around 17.2 million in here with a global vaccine. Remember, I've always talked about in here, everything fall back to the vaccine rollout that we've seen so far, because why is that? You have seen the US economy, right? As soon as the vaccine roll out, and right now in US, they are giving even lottery a chance to win $1 million in one of the states in Ohio, okay? If you get vaccine, and there seems to be 1 million each week will be given up to 5 lucky winners if they sign up for a vaccine. And if you compare to US and in Malaysia and some other parts of the country, it's really a different. So you have seen the vaccine rollout has been very positive. The faster it is, the more positivity. Right now in Malaysia, it's moving at a very slow pace, and that is also making just now early on our market not willing and not able to break above the 1600 in here. All right, that's good news, but stock is certainly down. Now on the next news, again, the MCO 3.0 is having an impact on number forecasting. This is like the Echo one, all right? So let's look at Magnum here, and Magnum, let's look at the chart, and here. So you can see Magnum continues to slide down. Again, any of this MCO since when it started to slide down, I think beginning of 18th of February, it broke down. Right now, it's something that you don't want looking to be buying. No doubt, this article that they talk about the impact on the ticket sales, a slight revision of the target price to 273. Let's look at the fundamentals here. Okay, stock fundamentals. And you can see stock fundamentals in here. The PE is 142. That really makes it a bit very, very pricey. But it does pay a 7% dividend. The ROE is actually less than 1%, which means the profitability is really not there to sustain, yet they're paying a lot of dividend, and that is the one of the reasons why it seems to be holding up. Let's look at the stock price this morning. It's still at $2, 2 ringgit, continued on a downtrend, as you can see from the chart early on here. Switching, yep, we are at here. You can see from this chart on the left hand side. So if you do want to have a very good yield, this 7% yield at least wait for the green pentagon, or at least learn how to read the chart, as we talk about every episode in our breakfast show. The agenda to be a train trader and a train investor, not buying buta-buta, not buying buta-buta. All right, so this is what we have. Let's move on to our next news, is again on the manufacturing on Penta Master. That's right, Penta Master continue to ride on this solid gain. Now again, Penta Master is having a same issue just like Foundpack being a manufacturing. Just type in Penta here, right? Hit that one. And let's look at the stock chart and stock review here. So you can see this is the big, they actually missed earnings, okay? They did miss earnings in here, and they were really punished, okay? And they were expecting the higher in here. No doubt this is more of a crisis kind of, repatch back the work, hoping for the best, as I said. So the research house has noted earmark for a 60 million a reinvestment back to the R&D here, and as such of that, they have 430 million of cash inside here. No doubt the charts looks very, very bad, but going forward, the management in here are trying to take a positive note from the 5G rollout and the smart sensors in here. So yet to be seen, but usually chart will move first before any of those result in here. But right now, this chart will tell you that the has fallen a lot, and one of this is because if you look from the article on the left hand side, net profit has dropped 14.6% year on year to 70.9 million against a 14.6% in and also revenue dropped to 480 million. So that is definitely a slowdown on the quarterly report in here. Let's see going forward whether the FDA will approve their new medical devices, and that will contribute in there. Right now, the analysts are giving a profit target of 585. All right, you can see 585 was the last high on top of me here. 585 right now is $4.80. All right, do take note, usually the stocks will not very seldom hit the target price, okay? Target price which is predicted by some of these analysts, and they are usually about 10 to 20% short of it. And once they hit that amount, it's going to correct by itself, right? So right now, I do think this morning Penta should hold its ground. Let's look at the livestock prices in here. It is down just slightly 0.5% at 466. All right, let's move on to our next news. Okay, so our next news is on something interesting to note of, as I was reading, going through the morning paper in here for our audience in here. Something to take note of, what we call a reverse mortgage. Now, reverse mortgage, maybe it's a concept that some of you may know, especially the retiree, is that when you have a house completely pay off and you don't have much cash, because this article talk about the 54% of EPF contributor has less than $50,000 set aside. Now remember, one of the show that we did, how to make 1 million in the stock market, go back and watch that. It's available on YouTube/TradeVSA. I talk about this thing about retirement, how much do you need. That is a very good talk that I talk about in here. But point is, they are talking about eventually remortgaging back your house, not to the banks but to Chagamas, right? And get some sort of an annuity. So this is again something I felt good idea, but I was thinking rather than mortgaging it back, where what is actually happening in here, you actually mortgage your house back to Chagamas, they'll just give you a very small amount every month to live on. Right, so at the end, you no longer the landlord. Chagamas is your landlord. You become a tenant. And if you pass away and you can't pay back whatever the amount, Chagamas will take away your house, or your children will have to pay for it. I think it's, to me, it's a bit silly, but again, I think very important what we talk about, train trader. If you know how to invest, you could have, a mortgage half of the house and take that amount and try to go for what we call the required rate of return, about 8 to 10% a year. And right now, in the next articles that I'm going to share with you in here, the ability that our Pentagon Guider able to return from January to May about 15% return. Right, so all you got to do is try to hit that required rate of return. And right now, inflation is about 4%. EPF are giving about 6% in here. If you can do better, like our Pentagon guide. And remember last year, which I've talked about the next article, right? The recovery rate of return able to hit 106% last year on 2020. Of course, last year 2020 on back testing simulation was a very good year. So this, in short, talks about how we are able to use what we learned here using the SMARTRobie and using the tools that we have, and something that we talk about very deeply is in our masterclass, helped you to do this rather than going for reverse mortgage, which has a lot of disadvantage in my sense, but you learning the education and able to do well. I think many of our members, especially our masterclass, knows about this technique to do this, and something for also the younger one to know. All right, now let's turn our attention to the US side. It's about inflation. Now, right now, the market has hit the new high there, and all this news talk about inflation because for the April figure 2021, the US are registering a 4% inflation rate, which the US FOMC Federal Chairman are targeting only 2%. So with the 4%, a lot of analysts now are sort of footing in that inflation or raising of the interest rate will come sooner rather than later, probably end of 2022 rather than end of 2023. All right, so probably another 6 months earlier in here, and that seems to be worrying out the market in here. So a lot of tech stock been hit, and also Bitcoin also took another hit when this Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO, talks about not accepting Bitcoin. He was very big on the cryptocurrency, and all of a sudden he shy away from that. That seems to have seen the cryptocurrency having another correction way below the 45,000. Now, right now, it's in the bear market in here, and that's what it is. You know, cryptocurrency are very subjected to a lot of the rumors and comment that is made by some of these influencers like Elon Musk in here. And again, they don't have central banks to back it up, unlike US dollar of the stock market. If should anything fall, the central market will come in and stop. But for cryptocurrency, do take note, there is no one there to rescue cryptocurrency. It's all left to its own devices in here. And I do believe eventually cryptocurrency will come back and correct itself. But right now, a lot of very bearish news seems to wait on it. That's why we always talk about having a small percentage of it, which we always talk about in our talks inside here, not having too much. And those of you who put, or what we call silang, on cryptocurrency, now you're feeling that market volatility in here. Whole point is able to sleep well, right, and able to get some sort of decent yield, and at least not to go into the reverse mortgage should you get into that kind of crisis mode in here. So I hope what you talk about a little bit sense of financial planning in here, because those ideas seems to work for me, and I hope you also work for you too. All right, let's move on to our past leaderboard for Pentagon guided trade idea that it seems in the past that we have. And UMW, the more recent one, March, seems to be there. FPI, Top Glove, Great Tech, Fajar, Ta'an on the move. And last week, that's right, 10th of May, we had two, but we have a very short trading week, Pestech and SOP. So let's take a look at those two, and I'm going to bring up the first one is Pestech that we talk about. Let me just scroll this. Now, switching to a daily chart first. Now, last week on the 10th of March, we were somewhere around here. So immediately on Thursday and Friday, the market actually dropped back down again. This is more of a power play, and the market has could not take off from here. We have an uptrust, but the volume seems to be low. It's still taking some time to accumulate first. There is no big movement in here. The other one, as I said before, plantation seems to be very SOP. It seems to be on the hot side. As how do I know that? And you go to you go to hot sectors. All right, just switching to a wider chart here. Hit the hot sectors. Right, you can see on the top, plantation, industrial, transportation continue to be the heavy weight right now. So SOP, after we had it on the 10th of May, this is a very powerful 1 bar pullback. Something our members should know about this. Continue to move upward. Of course, there are others like THS will started to gaps up too in here, and Ta'an. Okay, these are dual play in here. Ta'an has came back down in here. So I think the plantation stock should be fine. Having said that, and the Ta'an being some exposure to the timber are reacting to a news from WTK saying that Japan are buying less of their timber, and that somehow it has gapped down in there, right? But do take note, the timber industry is booming. Means the demand for timber, and it's booming in here, but just that WTK and Taan seems to export a lot to Japan, not to US. Maybe they can find way to resolve this by doing some sort of diversification and switching to some US customer in here. So those two stocks seems to be okay so far, and let's look at what we had for you this week. All right, let's move on to our stock trade idea. Now this week, haven't said that if you look from the trending stocks, right, it seemed to be a lot. This is trending stock. We are looking at Pentagon. That's right. Today is Monday. So look at Pentagon Guider, and they will need two because of the shorter week. So MISC seems to fall into that range. So we're going to build a trading plan around that. All right. So MISC, which is the transportation. If you note okay, now this here, if you look on overall, it's not one of the best. It went through almost 2 months accumulation. Will it take off? Yet to be seen. $6.80 in here. It does have all the characteristic of a long accumulation. In this case, 2.5 weeks. You got the spring in here. It's a good bet, a good probability in here. So let's take a look and build a trading plan for our MISC. All right. So let's bring this up here. Okay, so let's look at the weekly first. Okay, weekly, we can write this down here. So make sure, right? So we say that weekly green pentagon with blue trend zone. Since when? So let's put in the date here. Since 22nd of February 2021. All right. Then next, what can we say? We had good accumulation on a weekly chart basis. All right. So for those of you who have TradingView or like to subscribe to TradingView, our package is still available out there. You can check it out in here. Helps you a lot to do your planning. And do take note, the SMARTRobie version are just end of day. This is more real time. All right. Let's switch to a daily chart here, and you can see we had basis had 2 to 2.5 months of accumulation before green pentagon. When was that? On what date was that? And that was on 10th of May. Okay, 10th of May was Monday. That's right, 10th of May. Okay, so indicator SMARTRobie, yes. Okay, green pentagon on 10th of May. Okay, let's look at some important price level here. Is there any old high here? I think this was the highest, 695. This one also $7. Okay, high price is ringgit $7. And on what date was that? This was also 701. Okay, 7 or 701. On what day is that? That is 9th of April. Okay, 9th of April 2021. Okay, and that is the highest resistance. Okay, highest resistance, that's right. So price to enter will be today. Wow, 687. Okay, 687. Okay, 687. And let's look at the you can see here 687. Stop loss, profit target 772. Okay, so stop loss will be 640. We just use the 640 here. All right, target price will be 772. Okay, holding period 2 months. So right now is 17th of May and to 17th of July. Okay, that's it. So we will save this one here and we are done. So it's a very simple plan to do this. As you can see in here, definitely suitable for many of you to have at least a trading week. This is definitely a good start, and next week we will come and look at it again. All right, so that is what we have, and let's move on to our next segment. Now, next segment is again what we talked about just now, the reverse mortgage in here. It's very, very important that every year when you in the market, you should have a target. How much do you want to achieve? Now, remember, if you say you want 30% or you want 40%, and if you are not achieving it, let's say you only made 6%, then you need to know the gaps. Why are you not achieving this gap? Because if not, every year in, year out, you will be having the same result compared to what we're doing here, right? Using the Pentagon guided trading strategy, and something we talked about 2 Saturdays ago in here about how you can use the fixed rule that was given our coach Ari for you to do much better. So the 106% return on 2020 is on the back test, and right now using the real money, we are up January to May 15% on the back of win rate of 75%. And then early on, remember, we talked about one of the trade, Southern Steel, right? And let me just show you Southern Steel. We got out, and sometimes we find ourselves at 30%. And you can see right now, right? You can see we got out somewhere around here, 98 cents. And today, it's 95 cents. Interesting enough, right? So that's what our back test for our trade seems to work very well, because we have some sort of methodology in here. Of course, right now it's red Pentagon, so Southern Sea you have taken. But remember, we taken profit in here, and we also demonstrated that on our segment last Saturday when we got out for this one here. Definitely you can see upthrust, and that was the beginning of the fall, and right now you have this selling. Usually that's always the case, and take note of the climatic volume. Of course, on hindsight here, market will fall off in here, and also the earnings is coming out, so usually earnings may just be average, and that's why we are getting people to take profit out. So something to learn for you today. Of course, you can always learn more by scanning the details on the left hand side. All right, let's move on to our next segment. And this is what we talk about, the line of change in here. Those of you who are first time may want to check out the video, the 9 minutes tutorial on sign of strength and sign of weakness. Now, right now, we're going to go on to our regular segment where we will review for our top fans and our top reviewer in our Google Play Store and Apple Play Store. We will look at your list right now, all right? And let's take a look at it. And what we have so far. Okay, we have a news here. Pfizer oral one expected to roll out. Good. All right, that's good to know. All right, we have Sealing. Let's take a look at Sealing. All right, Sealing. Am I right? Sealing. Is this the same one? Sealing. I think Yang. If you have it, it's time to Chatbot. Okay, you can see it broke down through the ATR stop loss here already. You can see broke through 38 cents. It's time to go. So that's why I always talk about, if you put out a share that is already in yellow trend zone or broken out, then the question is you need to be out. Then the question is, when do you go in? You just wait for the green Pentagon. All right, so that will be my standard answer every time when you ask me. Follow the green Pentagon, follow the trend zone. When you have yellow trend zone right now, it's time likely the market's going to move down, it's going to move sideways in here. Don't be too hard on that one in here. Do take note. That's what we pick, MISC and not Sealing. All right, let's look at the other stocks in the public bank. Okay, Richie want me to look at public bank. Okay, let's look at public bank. But I think the banks are coming back. I think this is a good trade, a very good trade, because if you look at, let me just show you what. If you go to banks like Bank of America, BAC, right? That's why we talk about having a Pentagon in here. You can see the banks in US are going nicely in the straight, nice run. And if you look at OCBC Bank Singapore, which is 039, all right, only correcting recently only, but it's been trending up. And if you compare to public bank, okay, you see that public bank now is picking up. No green Pentagon yet, right? If you are trained from our masterclass, then use some of the trade pattern that we talk about in here. I think this one in here, it didn't break through the ATR stop loss. It didn't go through the green Pentagon. You can wait for the green Pentagon, or you can look at maybe CIMB Bank being the same area, right? They are coming back very, very soon. All right. So I think I've done that one. Let's look at the next one in here. We got Abu here. Abu want to look at Apollo. Let's look at Apollo here. Okay, Palo, very nicely done, but it's still a bit early. A lot of NS here. Remember, every time when you go through this Abula, what we call climatic volume, remember this is only 10 o'clock. We may see that climatic, which is this turquoise color coming out, and it will be a distribution. Not that good because all these penny shares seems to be distributing in here. I don't think this could be one of those trades there. They have 1 bar, 2 bar, distribute, jatuh balik already. All right, just take note of that one. Okay, this kind of trades I see inside here. Okay. All right, that's all I have for this morning in here. Some of you may have other stocks you can check out in here. We are looking to the slower response of the Robie English one, but the Bursa seems to be working well. And any more stocks, we'll just wait for 1 or 2 more people who have it in here. Okay, we got another one. Long Chan want me to look at Bumi Amada. Okay. Okay, Bumi Abada looks pretty good, the green pentagon, but there wasn't any follow through. 5% up following them. Remember, you want to enter here. All right, so you need to put your stop loss around here. The oil and gas seems to be recovering in here. So the thing is, a lot of this are profit taking. You know, very quickly when you have a green pentagon in here, the market need to move sideways to remove a lot of the sellers, and then it seems to be up. But judging from here, not ready to move higher yet, just moving sideways. And if you look at it, dialogue, all of them are exhibiting very similar too. You can see this one has a move here, hibiscus, petroleum in here. Yep, you can see that, right? Ding dong. And I do think, given time, with the continuing rolling out of higher oil prices. Again, how do I know oil prices does go to WTI? All right, WTI all futures, and switch to 1 month. You can see WTI is already moving up right now here. You can see, right? So eventually, I think the Bumi order should do pretty well too. All right. Okay. Let me see. Is any other more stocks? Okay. We got just 3 more in here. Okay. We got 1 more. Amir want me to look at LKL. LKL seems to be suffering a lot of the fate as the LKL. Okay. This one looks all right. You got NS in here, still accumulating, taking time before the breakout again. This is also taking up of the MCO3.0 here. So I do think LKL very similar to many of the rubber glove healthcare. It will hold out, but my question is, when you get another blowout like that, just be careful. May end up to this win. This looks pretty good. A good entry. If you have not entered this, take a look at this one in here. It will retest 44 cents very, very soon. Okay. Okay, so that's all we have for this morning here. Thank you for coming, and don't forget to join our YouTube Trade VSA. Do subscribe to our trade, and not to miss any of our. Of course, do take note of our 50 vouchers of Grab giveaway for the best submission or best stock trade idea to SMARTRobie. There is a WhatsApp number you can submit in here, and the best entry will win an iPad. So far, there is still a lot of 50 ringgit Grab voucher to be given out in here. So those members in here has not done so, please submit your best trade to the information to our WhatsApp in here or in our inbox, and check out the inbox for more information. So if you are first time in our group, do subscribe to our Telegram chat room. And for some of you who have been our members, you find that our services and our show are interesting enough and educational. Do share this with your friend so they can also learn that too. All right, with that all, I'll see you guys later on Wednesday. Now remember, this Wednesday we're having a masterclass revision on the 9:30, so I won't be with you, probably next Wednesday in here. So again, this is one of my commitment here, to train some of those who have joined us for a masterclass where I'll bring you up to the next level to become a trained trader and a trained investor. With that all, I'll see you sooner on Wednesday morning for another breakfast show. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.